Hello, YouTube. I wanted to talk about today's generation. I know I always talk about it, but it just struck up because I was watching Judge Mathis, and it was about a single mom and her daughter. She had two daughters, and I'm happy they always give a backstory. She gave a backstory of how her youngest daughter was a miracle child. The doctors told her that she couldn't have no more kids, and so her baby that was graduating high school, she wanted to do something special for her and get her an expensive dress. So now I would say for the past maybe 10 years, the new flex is not going to the mall and getting a dress. For me, my prom dress was $100, and I returned it the very next day. And my hair, I had my own hair, and I was just telling my son that back in 2007, in the early 2000s, 05, 07, the most that girls would do is, yes, we wore makeup. The most you would see somebody wear is a weave. So a couple of my friends, they wore a weave, but nobody wore a wig. So this is something new with the wigs and the heavy makeup. It's like, makeup is understandable because we wore makeup too, but it's way too much, to the point that a lot of girls look like drag queens on prom. They do. They look like drag queens, and everybody look the same. Everybody wearing wigs with the edges. Nothing wrong with having edges, showing baby hair, but the fake edges, the fake baby hair, it's too much. And this particular case struck out to me because it shows entitlement. So this single mother works 70 hours, 70. Most people, we work, 40 hours a week? Or me, I work 35 hours a week. I'm a paraprofessional in a DOE. So I leave when the kids leave, and I come in when the kids come. So most people work 40 hours. This single mother, she worked 70 hours. So she worked 70 hours to afford this dress, to afford this prom dress. And I felt bad for her because one thing about me, some of us that are single mothers, we single, but we have help from the fathers and their families. And I thank God that when my son had prom for junior high, his grandmother covered it, because prom is expensive. These suits, my son's suit was $300 for a rental. So it's serious out here, I don't think I would ever pay that much for no suit. He would have went right to Portobello, and he just would have been happy with that. We going to Portobello's. The men's warehouse is you gotta have some money. So this girl, they looked on Facebook, and I don't recommend it. I don't know why people do it, but they do it. They go on Facebook, they go on Instagram to look for people for prom dresses, whatever. To each their own. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. So she wanted her dress handmade and $1,500, and the deposit was $500. And so the girl was a little chunky, right? In life, if you are a big person, you're a big person, naturally things like the fabric may not be enough for you. So in this case, when she tried it on the third time, it ripped. Good thing it ripped at home and not at prom, because that would have been embarrassing. But it ripped at home, and the guy offered to repair it. He said, listen, let me stitch it back, whatever. Obviously, it ripped because she was too big for the dress. She probably gained a little weight, which happens. She probably gained a little weight, and when she sat down, when she went to put on her shoes, it ripped. So she says, oh, she's not going to prom. And the mother just goes along with it, and the mother blames the designer And he said it, and I'm happy he said it. He was like, don't put that on me. Don't put the blame on me. Your daughter didn't want to go to prom. And that's what it was. Originally, she said that her daughter did not want to go to prom. So 9 times out of 10, when you don't want to do something, the universe is going to send you back that same negative energy. And that's just with any situation. She didn't want to go. The dress ripped. Even if the dress didn't rip, she would have found another reason why she didn't want to go, because that was her original thing. Her original feeling was she did not want to go for reasons unknown. Maybe, well, her mother did say that her daughter is shy. Not really shy. Her daughter just chooses not to be sociable. So that's some people. They just, she just doesn't want friends. She was on the basketball team and stuff and in band, but she just chooses not to be sociable. So she didn't want to go to prom because prom forces you to talk to people. Prom, you have to be sociable, right? It's prom. So she didn't want to go because she's not sociable. My guess is maybe that's her personality, or it's not the right setting. Sometimes people are not, like for me personally, I'm a very outgoing person, but it depends on where I'm at. I'll talk to you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give you my number, right? That doesn't mean I like you. I talk to you because, like, if I'm at work, it's a professional setting, so I can't just not talk to you, right? I have to communicate with you to tell you about a student, whatever, but, it's professional, right? It doesn't mean that you have to like the person. You're at work. But I pick and choose. I'm not friendly with everyone. Some people take it as, oh, I'm quiet or shy. I'm not quiet or shy. I'm selective. So yes, there's places that I've worked at and I didn't talk to anybody outside of work. And then there's places that I worked at where I did. Right? So you pick and choose who you want to be your friend. And then you might want to be friends with somebody and they don't want to be friends with you. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, right? You're there to work. You're there to make money. You're not there to make friends. So with a child or a teenager, a lot of the times that particular school is not the right setting for her. Maybe when she gets to college, she'll make friends. But I digress. But basically, she did not want to go to prom, right? So her dress rips. The guy offers to fix it, and she's like, no. So I'm like that when it comes to certain things, because I'm like, I'm not going to give you another chance to mess it up. But the fact that her mother, see, this is where the selfishness comes in, because her mother worked hard, 70 hours to afford the dress. Makeup was done, hair was done, nails was done, and you going to say you're not going to go? Why not just let him fix it for the sake of your mother? You're not even thinking about your mother's feelings to say, let me push my feelings to the side. And her mother didn't encourage her, like, listen, one thing about prom tickets, even whether if it's 2007 or 2027, 37, prom tickets are non-refundable. So she should have went for the sake of, yo, let's go to the malls. They put in the comment section on YouTube, go to the mall real quick. These kids today are not going to nobody's mall for no dress, for no occasion. They want stuff handmade. They want stuff from China. They want stuff that's very, very high end or high class. These kids don't want store-bought dresses, this generation. And so somebody put on Instagram that she been working with kids she's 22. She worked with kids about 2 years, and she's traumatized because you have a lot of parents millennials that were abused by the baby boomers. And so the idea is, I'm not going to repeat the cycle. And that's fine. I totally get that. But you still have to have boundaries. You still have to let a child know, hey, you're being selfish right now. Because What the mother doesn't realize is you allowed her to do that for prom. What happens when she gets married and the dress rips? You gonna just let her not get married? Oh, I'm not gonna walk down the aisle. No, you're gonna have to figure something out, because you got 500 people waiting on you to walk down the aisle. You got a groom that's waiting for you. You got a minister waiting for you. You got people are dependent on you. You can't be selfish and just say, well, I'm not getting married today because my dress ripped. No, your ass better go make a mall run, and get you a white dress. It may not be the fanciest dress, but get something to put on. Now most women, they just wouldn't be getting married that day. But if you got guests waiting on you and all of that, no. Or even another one, your baby shower. Let's say if your dress, something happens with the dress, maybe it get ripped or stained or something happened. What you gonna do? Cancel your baby shower because what I'm saying? It could be any event. It could be your birthday party. So you're gonna cancel your birthday party. People done, you done ordered a cake, you done paid for a venue, all of that. You're gonna cancel it just for an outfit. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think the mother really realizes what you're teaching your daughter. Though she be 18, she's still not grown. She's still learning. And that's what we don't realize. Like, it's our job as parents to still guide them. And that's just not acceptable. It's like, oh, the dress ripped. That's not his fault that the dress ripped. He's using the fabric that he has, or the fabric that's popular right now, which is cheap fabric. That's what they use. And it's not just with dresses. It's with furniture. I got a dining room table from Raymore and Flanagan. I should have been put them on blast. Less than 3 years ago, and within a few months, it started breaking down. I thought it was because I have big friends, and it's not because of them. It's cheap. $650, but things are cheap nowadays. No matter how much you pay for something, the material of a lot of things is cheap. So you can't even really say it's his fault or whatever. Even if it was his fault, he offered to repair it and she declined. He said, let me fix it. She said no. That's being a diva. You the one that need to go to prom. You the one who need a dress. And you acting like that. You miss out on prom. For what? Because, and that's a lot. And if you know that to all my single moms, I'm talking to my single moms right now. Sometimes you feel like a failure because you're not with the dad. He may be no good and you have good reasons why you're not with him. But naturally, children, they want their parents together, but you're not together, right? But you have to explain to your child, listen, this is why I'm not with him. And they'll see for themselves, too. You don't always have to explain. But, and then you date different men, and those relationships don't work out. And sometimes you may feel like a failure as a parent, that you failed your child. But don't feel like that. Because what often happens in the black community, what I've seen and noticed, is it's like you trying to overcompensate for something that's not there. Now, luckily, my son has his father, family, and stuff. So when it comes to like big events, they got that. Like, they got that, But for my single mothers that don't have help, sometimes you may feel like you have to overcompensate. You may feel like, well, because he's not around, or because I don't have a man, I have to pay $2,000 for a dress that I cannot afford. I have to get this and that. Now, if you can afford it, God bless you. Some of my single mothers are doctors and lawyers. Some single mamas, they have really good jobs and they could afford that. Or sometimes, tax money, you be like, oh, okay, tax money came in and you could do it. But if I'm talking to my single moms, if you can't do it, don't feel bad. As long as you raise your child with good morals and they're an upstanding citizen and you know that you did the best that you could, you're not slapping them around, you're not abusing them, you know that you've done the best that you could as a mother, you don't have to spend all that money for a dress. And don't feel guilty about not spending it. These wigs are out of control. You got 12-year-olds wearing wigs. My son said for his 8th grade prom, everybody had on a wig except for his girlfriend. That's ridiculous. Wigs, and these wigs that these girls wear with the glue and in the edges, they not cheap. We talking $200-$300 for a wig. And they not even buying it. Stop doing that. Because what ends up happening is they end up entitled. When you spoil a child like that, when they get to an age of 21 or 25, they might end up doing illegal stuff to afford that. Just like with Love and Hip Hop, Winter. Winter is the friend of Emily from New York. She was raised up in Cyprus, and her grandmother raised her. Her grandmother spoiled her, probably because her parents wasn't around. So as a grandmother, she said it. She said, my grandmother spoiled me. Whatever I wanted, I got. So when I wasn't living in her house no more, I just got so used to being spoiled. She started sleeping with men, celebrities, to afford things because she was used to that lifestyle that her grandmother gave. So then she started doing things to afford the lifestyle. Or for boys, a lot of boys start drug dealing because they so used to being spoiled, and they get a certain age to afford the lifestyle, they start selling drugs. So be very careful with spoiling kids, because then they become entitled. Then they become like, oh, I'm supposed to have this. No. Life is going to happen. Maybe your dress don't rip, but something else could happen. You're not supposed to cancel like that because you're inconveniencing others. That girl canceled her prom. She said, oh, I ain't going. The mom never expressed to her, hey, what about your prom ticket that I can't get? That's non-refundable. Prom ticket. The mother didn't say she paid for a limo, but limos, I remember, for a deposit, it's non-refundable. And when you pay for a limo, if they give you back your money, it takes time. So it's like your hair and makeup is done, you have your shoes, all of that going to waste because a dress ripped. Like, that's not fair to your mom. Your mom worked hard. Don't let her hard work go all to waste. That's selfish. And the mother allowed her to be selfish. And that's not good. Let's not allow our kids to be. And somebody said in the comment section in Instagram, I'm so happy she said it. She's like, she's a sub. And you have parents that encourage the disrespect because she said the child drew a picture of him shooting her. And the parent didn't see nothing wrong with it. And I remember years ago, I was out with a group of friends. And, I was like, I'm a substitute para. And she didn't even let me finish as to explain to her what a para did. And she's like, oh, sub, da-da-da, how all the substitute teacher said to her daughter was, what's your name? That's all she said to her. And her daughter was rude to her. She was like, she don't got a right to talk to my daughter and she's a sub. And I'm like, how do you sound? So because somebody's a substitute, whatever, para or teacher, you're saying that they deserve to be disrespected? Like, That's still an adult. So, okay, God blessed you with a good paying job, whatever. You feel like you better than a substitute. Okay, cool. But you're teaching your child to disrespect someone that doesn't have a title. That's what you're basically saying without saying it. That because I'm a substitute or anybody else, they don't deserve no respect because they're a substitute. Make it make sense. And then she bragged about her daughter being rude to the lady, saying, "You're not even a real teacher, you a sub." What? And you're okay with this as a mother? And I'm just listening. I'll never forget it because I'm like, wow. And she older than me. The bitch in her 40s. And she's like, she doesn't see anything wrong with her daughter being rude to a sub. She doesn't see because, oh, that person's a sub. They're not a real teacher. So because you're not a real teacher or a real para, you don't deserve respect from a student. You're like a nobody. You're a piece of garbage on the floor. What? I don't care if the person's a janitor, school safety. I don't care what jobs. I don't care. They could be a volunteer. My son better respect them because I teach my son to respect people, not just because of titles. Like, what? Somebody could say that about you. You know? Somebody, because you don't know what situation you might be in one day and whatever, and then that person's parent is telling them, oh, you ain't nothing because you work that job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you act like, and I said it to her, I said, you act like people plan to be substitutes. People don't plan to be substitutes. It happens. They don't tell you, oh, you got to be a substitute first and then be permanent. They don't tell you that. They just nominate you and then you find out on your own. Or a substitute teacher, they're trying to be full-time, but they are getting their feet wet. You know, but regardless of the fact, you know, don't you think the person deserves respect as an adult? And this is the generation that we live in. It's not even about young mothers. You got people in their 40s that don't have sense either. That do. I know somebody right now, she spent a bunch of money on her daughter's prom, whatever. She's like, oh, well, my daughter's a good student and this, that, and the third, right? So her daughter was getting ready for college and she talking about financial aid. I'm like, wait a minute. You don't have money to put your daughter in college, but you spent all that money for prom and a dress? Make it make sense. Like, that's weird to me. Like, it's different if you could afford it. Like I said, if you could afford it, cool. Or let's say, you know, the father, he steps up and he buy, you know, as he should. And that's just my personal opinion. Like, fathers, whether you with the mother or whether you with the mother or not, if it's your child's prom, you should step up and pay. All expenses, shoes, makeup, wig, whatever the fuck they want. Get it. Because that's your job as a father. That's just my opinion. But, you know, sometimes as a single mom, they stuck with the bill. But it's like, you don't have money for her to go to school. Y'all talking about trying to apply. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, financial aid, like, but you just spent $2,000 on her prom. That could have went towards a semester for school. You know, I'm like, priorities is all fucked up. And it's always single moms from the black community. You never hear about white people, and this is just from me working in the schools, and just even on movies too, you see it. White girls, what do? They go to the hair salon. They may or may not get a weave. Most of them, they wear their own hair. And white girls are very basic. They wear their hair in two styles. Either it's straight or curly. So for prom, they might put some curls in and that's it. They gonna wear makeup. They might put some nails on, lashes. But it's very simple. It's nothing extravagant. And they get their dress from the mall or Craigslist. They are not spending... And their parents could work for the news. Their parents could be doctors and lawyers, all that. but they are not spending that on prom. They're not. And that's the difference between white and black people. Like, black people, they spend their money on stuff that don't matter. Like, that shit don't matter. Like, nobody cares about how much you spent on your dress. If it look nice, it look nice. You know. But yeah, we need to, this generation is so materialistic. They got something called Balenciaga, and it's a towel skirt. I bet you that's about to go viral. People gonna be wearing it. People was laughing like, oh, people will wear it. People wear Crocs. If people wearing holes in their clothes, right, and Crocs and slave shoes, I'm pretty sure people will wear towel skirts. Oh, it's Balenciaga. This generation is just now, and this is how they are now. Imagine years from now. And then I asked my son, because you know my son, he gonna be 15, so I asked him his opinion about the Judge Mathis case. And I was like, what if you had a sister? And I'm like, because I don't care if the Lord bless me with a daughter, trust and believe, no, you cannot wear no wig, not until you grown. And if you want to wear a wig for your senior prom, you could wear one of my wigs. And if they not good enough, oh well, I am not buying you no wig and you 18 years old. No, I didn't start wearing wigs till I was 23. And if you want to wear makeup, you're going to wear light makeup. You're not going to be looking like no transsexual under my roof. You know, I'll do your makeup, or I'll take you to the mall and they're going to do the makeup to what I want it to look like. You're not going to be looking like no he, she, no trans. No. And it's crazy because prom nowadays, everybody looks alike. If y'all really pay attention, everybody look the same. It's like nobody has an identity anymore. When I went to prom in 2007, we all looked different. I had my natural hair. I wore Shirley Temple curls. I wore my little crown. And I wore my makeup. And I had my dress with my gloves. It was beige and gold. That was my colors. And my friend, she wore updo. And my other two friends, they wore weave. And the weave was looking nice. One girl, she had long hair weave. And it looked really nice on her. We had our nails done. I didn't get my nails done. I wore gloves. Because I figured I'm wearing gloves. Nobody gonna see my nails. But, yeah. And that was that. You know. Went to Victoria's Secret. Got my little perfume. Had my lip gloss. But yeah, like, we looked different from each other. You know, prom, everybody looked different. Everybody looked nice. Some people spent money on their dresses. I remember some people spent $300-$400 on their dresses, and that's it. I spent $100, you know, at Macy's. It was nice, very nice dress. It was strapless. I didn't need a bra. It was padded, so it was perfect. Padded. It was beige and gold. I had gold heels, gold gloves. You know, I was Gucci. I was good. I had the gloves for a long time. I think I threw them out finally, but I kept them for a while. And then I had the gold shoes, but those tore apart like after like 10 years. So I threw those out, you know. But yeah, like, we look like normal women. We didn't. Now everybody look like a he, she. Everybody look like a trans. It's like, it's too much makeup. Too much. Nothing wrong with makeup, but then when it's too much, no. Fake edges and Lord. I'm happy when I have my son, and if I have another kid, I hope it's a boy, because my girl, it's like everybody's wearing a wig. I haven't seen, you have a few girls that don't wear wigs, very few. But those are the ones that are quiet, don't really have friends. The boys don't like them. So it's like, I feel like if I have a daughter that's like me, she might have low self-esteem because it's like, oh, the boys don't want to talk to me because I don't wear a wig. I don't wear a wig. It's like, what? You know, I don't want my daughter to feel like that, you know. But that's the generation we live in. It's kind of like, if you don't have a wig, you ain't shit. You know, it's weird. Because even with my son's ex-girlfriend, she was very shy to herself, didn't have a lot of friends, and she wore her own hair. So it's crazy. But yeah, we gotta raise these kids better. We gotta do better. Stop trying to be their friend and have limitations and boundaries. And those are my thoughts.